So here's one of my pet peeves, and every theological as well as denominational camp is guilty of this. It's what I coined Bible poker. This is when we treat texts of the Bible like playing cards in a poker match, as if somehow one hand can beat another, thinking that at any moment that once the stakes are high enough, our theological opponents will fold. A general example of this is when person A holds the position of A with the proof text of A supporting his position. However, person B, in attempt to refute position A, tries to outflank them by bringing up proof text B, which is often not related to the proof text of A, or the position of A. All of a sudden, you got two Bible geeks taking jigsaws to their Bibles to make playing cards or supporting proof text out of them, in the vain attempt to have the winning hand against their theological opponent.
The game is No Limit Texas Hold'em. That's at least 4 red chips to you, sir.
All in.
Isn't this the exact thing that you vile Arminians do every single time you quote John 3:16 in response to us talking about Romans 9?
Actually, Internet Calvinist, you're kinda correct.
Wait, I am? This has never happened to me before.
Yes, it annoys me too when I see people argue this way. And tragically, I think it's the #1 reason I suspect that people choose Calvinism. See what I did there?
Last fold again.
Since it seems to be the only side giving answers to these often difficult texts to understand. Now, the reason I choose to reject Calvinism, see what I did there, is ironically because of their failure to harmonize proof texts that disprove the claims of their theological system. And when faced with, let's say, 2 Peter chapter 2, which you can find a totally awesome video about right here, even Legionnaire ministries run and hide to their wrong understanding of John 6 to explain away the clear teaching of 2 Peter chapter 2. John 6 has nothing to do with either 2 Peter chapter 2 or anything else. Leighton Flowers of Soteriology 101 often uses this duck versus rabbit analogy.
Look at this picture. It's a rabbit. You can look at it for hours and be absolutely sure it's a rabbit. But then one day, you look at it and you realize, wait a second, it's a duck.
Where people, i.e. Calvinists, are so focused on the picture being a rabbit that they fail to see that it could also be a duck. Looking at this picture, the Bible, a Calvinist sees a rabbit and everyone else sees a duck. The problem that I have is when I bring up this proof text that shows it walking like a duck, quacking like a duck, swimming like a duck, and ultimately flying like a duck, something the rabbit can't do, it is at this point that I have to call a duck, where a Calvinist chooses to call it a rabbit. Sure, rabbits and ducks have similar attributes. They both lay eggs.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
However, when I look at Calvinist proof texts that make God into a rabbit, and when those texts are examined in the context of their close proximity, it's usually unrelated to the matter at hand, or it's a mistake in over-literalizing what is clearly meant to be hyperbole. Not only do they show God is not a rabbit as Calvinists claim, the Calvinist still has no response to disprove the text that shows God is a duck. It is at that point that I just have to call Calvinists on their bluff.
That's at least 4 red chips to you, sir.
All in.
I'll call.
What are... That's insane.
I have good cards.
Well, Toby, I went all in on the first hand, so doesn't that tell you that I might have good cards too? So don't be stupid, just take it back.
Oh, I'm sorry, he can't, sir. He's gone all in.
Okay, well, right, whatever.
Flip him.
You really screwed that up.
Dear Calvinists, if you want me to take your position seriously, you cannot run and hide to proof texts that you think prove your position without refuting, in any real sense of the word, my proof texts. And simply bashing our side for only running to John 3:16 is really just projection. And I've noticed that a huge amount of insecurities pop up amongst internet Calvinists when all of a sudden they're shown that their precious proof texts don't mean what they think they mean, and they have no response to the proof text of the other side. We should all stop pitting the Bible against itself, and all of us should stop playing Bible poker, especially if you're a Calvinist, because you guys don't know when to fold up.
You really screwed that up.
I don't really play cards, but I'm not gonna lie to you. It felt really good to take money from
James White.
I'm gonna chase that feeling.